So, this is a special episode. Not special, but specific and personal. A family friend is lying in a hospital bed, and he's been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Those who know Fade know that he was a generous person and very, very kind-hearted. Rough around the edges, but I mean, he was a great guy. And I spoke to a friend of mine today that opens a local business, and he even said, you know, you got to give credit where credit's due. And for even, Fade wasn't the richest guy, but he stuck to this town thick and thin. He stayed here his entire life. His family was from here. His, a lot of his relatives live in this area. He's got like 5 kids, I think. Don't quote me on the number. I didn't grow up with him, but the missus is, very integral. Our 9-year-old, my 9-year-old stepdaughter, knows him as Grandpa Fade. He's very, just as much a member of the family as anybody else, and this is just I don't know, it's a hard time, but this video is going on both our about us and family, and as well as the religious section of our channel. I wanted to get into it from 2 aspects. One was this is my life, so I mean, even during the intimate portions of my life where things are happening for the good or the worse, we're here, and we're doing it. We're sharing it with you guys, and so from the religious perspective, when someone is sick or dying or dies, from my belief system, I pick a beer or an alcoholic beverage that person used to drink, and I drink it. I think of them. I send them good thoughts. That's how I pray. I don't sit there and clench my hands together. I think of them and drink their beverage of choice. My grandfather died in 2011 during Super Bowl Sunday. I lived out of state at the time, and I was the only one who got a call because I owned a property that was nearest my grandfather's house. And so the police department checked the tax records. They called me. I'm out of state. I'm like 3,000 miles away, and they called me. And it's like I had to call every one of my relatives, and that was tough. I was a lot younger then, and it was tough. And every year on that day, in February, me and a couple friends who knew my grandfather, and any relatives that are nearby, we try to get together. I try to get together as many people as possible, and we drink Old Milwaukee, because that's what my grandfather drank. He drank Old Mill. The Buck drank Old Mill. So we sit around and we drink Old Mill, reminisce, tell stories. We think about this person. We send good thoughts their way, whether on earth, to the ground, in the afterlife, whatever you believe. And to each parishioner their own, and to each one of these gentlemen that drink with me, to their own, of where they're sending these thoughts and these feelings and whatever. We get together and cope with it as human beings that are still alive on this planet and deal with it. And that's kind of what religion is. It's dealing with it. And the dead don't have these types of thoughts in my eyes. They're dead. They're not on this planet. And so that's every year we get together and drink Old Mill for my grandfather. And wherever you want to send the good thoughts or whatever, it's us coping. And that's, and it's celebratory, and celebrating somebody's life and saying this is what it is. But I do the same thing when somebody's sick or dying or whatever. When somebody is ill, I send these thoughts to them and tell stories, and I sit around with people that know him or her, and we we talk about it, we discuss it, we say, hey, remember when he did this? He always used to, like with Brian, for example. We talk about every summer he used to have a barbecue at his house, and he made the best Chevettis chicken. I don't know how he made chicken so moist. Like, I've had aunts that are cooks, and I always get the driest turkey on Thanksgiving. I get the driest piece of chicken from my, unless it's, and even when it's crock potted, I don't understand it. I'm not the best cook in the world, but I serve dry chicken. I can't, and his was always so, it was the most succulent chicken you could ever have. And that's what I remember. And that's what I will remember. And hopefully he's around 2, 3, 5 summers from now, still cooking that same delicious chicken. And these are the stories that I'm going to tell people, and these are the stories that I'm going to remember, and these I'm going to tell my, the 2 youngest kids. They don't have a name for a lot of people yet. They, somebody comes around for a couple weeks, and then they, friends of mine, and they remember their names, and they go away, and it's one of those things, and I'm afraid that they're too young to remember him if he passes. And this is why and it is inevitable. He's got stage 4 cancer. He's probably not going to make it. That's the sad reality. But I can have good hope and good thoughts and drink his beer of choice. As hard as it is to stomach, the Beast, Milwaukee's Best. God, but he drank it in the pounder, the 16-ounce can. I can't. It brings back memories to me when I was a young lad, underage, drinking these under a bridge with cousins. It's the Beast. And then it's ice, of course, and that kind of makes it a hell of a lot more of a headache, both in the morning and during. But, to Fade, to Brian, these thoughts are going to you, buddy. Get better. Hopefully, the Only General Hospital. I know they've had bad reviews in the past, but they're doing the best job for you, and that's my hope, my thoughts. And so the family of Brian and Fade, that's how most of us know him, as Fade. It's his nickname. And actually, I was just talking to the missus, and she goes, well, little Miley doesn't even, she, like, for the longest time, she was 4 years old, just called him Grandpa Fade. So people would talk about him and say, Brian, Mom, who's Brian? That's Fade, honey. Oh, okay, Fade. Yeah, okay, yeah. But to him and his grandchildren and his children, and to little Miley out there, we hope you make it, buddy. We, live, shit, even if it's that extra day, it doesn't, that's, I'm sorry, it's hard to put words to this. It's because it's a loved one, it's just. To Fade. We love you, buddy. Here's thinking of you.